this is based on what me and you and I've experienced. It's something that I watched online, so no specific order. I'll start with the heaviest question probably.
Okay.
It's the issue of 𝗔𝗃 في الجسد.
So 𝗔𝗃, right, is an Arabic word. It's not actually an English word. Yes, we live in the West. Okay, and 𝗔𝗃, only way I can understand 𝗔𝗃 is when somebody says, "I feel like a knot."
Yeah.
Okay, and that is like a constant or chronic pain that they feel in a part of their body, right? So, how do you deal with that? You deal with it like the Prophet ﷺ has prescribed to a Sahabi when he said, place the hand in the place of the pain and say Bismillah 3 times and then make the dua 𝗹𝗶hez𝗸 7 times. Now, once that's the first stage. The second stage is maybe to massage it with some oil. The other stage is, if it's in the appropriate place, is to do hijama. If it's not in the appropriate place to do hijama, then the closest hijama point to that place. So you can apply a massage, for instance, a massage gun or a tense machine. So this is how you deal with 𝗔𝗃, and Allah knows best. Or you read in certain verses that consist of the words of 𝗔𝗃. Does that answers your question?
Yes.
Allah knows best.
So
Go on.
That's like the like that's when the client says, "I'm feeling like a knot in my arm, knot in my leg." And the reason I say this is because I obviously told me not to look at other Raqis and how they do things, but I curiosity, and then I just tried to compare the way that they do things. So Raqi was once asked about something. Is a Raqi, I don't want to mention his name, but he's in America, and he said basically, before you come to see me to do Ruqyah, I need you to do listen to certain verses that unknot the knots that the shaitan has put on you. And then when you come to me, then I do Ruqyah.
No, there's no such thing.
Okay.
How can you
Say the shaitan has put a knot.
Yeah, and how do you know they're knots? And who told you they're knots?
He's like, every time that the shaitan afflicts somebody, he puts some knots in the body.
So that's a general. Now he's basically said everyone's got knots.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Who gave you this knowledge?
Yeah.
Where did you get this knowledge from?
Yeah.
You were fine?
Was the dalil for it?
Yeah. Was this is 𝗍𝗨. Okay. When we say pain, and they call pain knots, like if you have a knot in your back, you know it's a knot in your back. Why do you call it a knot in your back?
Yeah.
Because it's chronic. It doesn't want to go away.
Yeah.
So you have to massage it for it to go away. So it's a knot that's actually a real physical knot.
Yeah.
Now the spiritual knot is a pain. This could be pain that feels like the knot, but it feels. I don't call them knots. I just say call them pain, because this is what my clients. This is what they say. They say pain. The only time they say knot is when they've been told it's a knot, and I don't tell.
Yeah.
I don't suggest. So, and the best thing to do, and this is my tip, is look at cults, how they become cults, and how these cult leaders have effect on people. And once you know how they do that, you avoid it.
Yeah.
You avoid it, so you don't suggest.
Yeah.
So when you don't do this, you realize you get everyone, like especially because we live in the West, no one's going to say things where they've mass heard it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this person that you're talking about now is going to spread this, right? And then,
YouTube.
pardon? It's on YouTube. And then your job is to now tell people, where is this information from? Because you don't have any. The only information you could have got it, only place you can get it from, is from speaking to the jinn. The jinn will say to you, yes, we've knotted the shoulders, we've knotted the stomach, we've knotted the heads, we knotted all of this stuff. Now we have hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where shaitan will come and knots behind the person's head.
Yeah.
And these are true knots. Where Ibn Nawawi in the Sharh Sahih Muslim, he said these are true knots that have been blown in. This is real siḥr, right? But is there pain in the back of the person's head when he wakes up?
Yeah.
Is there pain?
No.
No, there's no pain.
Plus these knots are, as Sheikh Khalid says, fil kharij, just outside,
Yes.
inside. You need the lead to say this inside, right?
Yes. So if the person claims there is knots inside, now you're talking about 𝗍𝗨. Where did you get this information from? And now he has to say, and he won't give you the answer unless he says, I have spoken to the jinn. Okay, now how truthful is this jinn? Why you believe in this jinn? But in the other hand, if the person says he has knots, he says he feels knots, these are muscle pains that he has, then you would deal with them as in the sunnah. They could be from the jinn.
Yeah.
They could be from physical. Like if somebody has like a knot, let's say a place that people don't usually have knots, like they have a stitch, like a stitch that's been there like for a period of time. He's done the breathing, he's done the stretching, he's done the walking, and the stitch does not want to go away. I call it a stitch.
Yeah.
He's called it a knot. Somebody else called it pain, but actually not. We don't. I'm sure there is, because the shayateen do knots, but we can't prove that. Allah knows best. If it's pain, then it's dealt with as pain. I hope that's answering your question.
Perfect.
Yeah. But when you start mass
sending the information out,
suggesting
it wasn't just that one Raqi. There's another. I went a bit on a thing on a weekend where I was watching other Raqis how they do things. It was one in Indonesia as well, and so another one in Indonesia. There's one in the UK. It was on this YouTube in the channel. He's pinpointing knots in the body, and then if he touches on that part of the body, and the body person reacts, he said, "There's a knot there. There's a knot there." So this is why I was asking.
So if I was to now demonstrate to you on certain people, if somebody was right here and I was to press on their body, they will react.
Even
okay,
if they don't have any affliction.
Even if they don't have an affliction, and this is again, this is just making things dramatic, and the whole body, especially if the whole body's got like pressure points, and even without pressure points, if you just press between the bone and the meat of the person, they feel pain. So, we don't do that kind of stuff. We don't encourage this kind of information as well to people.
Without base.
This it's just scaremongering. Yeah. We deal with like if you just listen to the client what he says, we deal with what he says. Yeah. We don't start suggesting because you've got this information. Where did you get this information from? Who passed this down to you? So it's all about where you got your information. So you'll find the Raqis that are they either learn it from YouTube or from some social media, but they didn't learn it from actually a sheikh, right? And if they learn it from a sheikh and he is somebody who follows, the al-sunnah wal-jama'ah, like a Salafi da'wah kind of method, where he goes always back to the scholars, you find he doesn't say these things. But just like a random Raqi who just learned himself, and he's learned from the jinn, or from experience from the jinn, then he doesn't know what he's allowed to carry on saying and what he has to suppress. He doesn't do that. Then he starts sharing this information. Then somebody else comes and picks up from him and doesn't say where he's learned it from. Then it's all from the shayateen. Barakallahu fi. Okay, what's the next question?
The next question is, how do you realize that a patient has lost control?
Okay, so how do you know if a patient has lost control? It's literally like when somebody faints. Okay, when somebody faints. That's the easiest. Somebody faints, he drops to the ground, he becomes limp. He's lost control. But how do you know somebody is in control? Yeah. So losing control is easy, but how do you know somebody is still in control? Yeah. So for instance, he can be closing his eyes, or his eyes could be open, and he can start to fidget. He can start to fidget, and he can start doing crosses. He can start writing. He's lost control, but he's awake. See, this is different to the question that you mentioned.
That's the one that you just mentioned.
So again, you want to know where his hands are. And what he's doing with his body. So it's all body language. So what the body is doing is really important. So the person can have small twitches like really on the skin, just twitches like so. Or it could be twitches on the whole arm, where the arm starts to twitch. And he might think this is normal. I've had this all my life. But then when you recite, it coincides with your recitation. Or he doesn't twitch like that no more. So I'll give you an example. So one case, these are kind of true cases I'm trying to remember. This is a habit that the person has. They would have a twitch. The arm would just lift up. And then you say to them, "Are you okay?" And they say, "Yeah, this is normal. This happens to me all the time. I'm used to this." And they say, "No, can you please not do it?" And then 2 minutes later, the arm is gone still, and it's never done that before. So the reaction, or it might move to his leg, and he's never had it move to his leg before. You see changes, and then you realize, okay, this person's not in control, even though he thinks he's in control. Like spasms, you're not in control of spasms. People are not in control of spasms. They'll have a spasm or muscle throb they don't have control. So is that jinn? Is that just normal? It could be both. It could be from the jinn or ayn or sihr, or it could be from from their chemical reaction in the body. But when it starts to react with the Quran, not because he's nervous or he's anticipating something happening, no, it's actually moving from throbbing on the muscle and spasm to feeling dizzy, or from the head rocking back, or leaning to one side. So people could be fully conscious, fully awake, but just leaning to one side, and they justify it, saying, "Oh, I'm just tired," and lean on the side. So they start to justify these. Our job is just to get them back to the normal posture, and again start to recite. Then they will lose control. Get them to that more posture and to recite until the session's finished.
And if they, let's say the arm is twitching, that's a sign of them not having control. Does that mean it's just in that part of the arm, or is it the whole body that's not in control? Or we only deal with what is apparent to us. Yeah.
So whatever is not apparent, we don't have to deal with that. We deal, okay, he's saying that he's having a spasm on his arm. It's just a spasm on his arm. Okay? Is the jinn causing that? It could be the jinn causing that, but it's only a spasm at the end of the day. Yeah. We have nothing to panic about.
Yeah.
But when the person feels dizzy, when the person feels dizzy, or they feel they need to vomit, after that, then we know, okay, alhamdulillah, this is a good sign. If they say that they feel angry, agitated, we know that's a bad sign.
Yeah, that something else is trying to take control.
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we deal with the signs or the symptoms as they are.
Yeah.
We do not add anything to it. We don't want that to anticipate anything else is going to happen.
Yeah.
If he says he just feels a headache, it's just a headache.
Yeah.
But if it turns into anger or aggression, then it's anger and aggression.
Yeah.
Does that mean?
Yeah.
But then if he goes into unconsciousness, then we have to deal with it as, okay, he's unconscious. And then if the jinn speaks, okay, that's a jinn speaking.
Yeah. Where I struggle is when the person's like this talking to you, and you done a bit of ruqyah, like the case that I had last week. Just did a small segment at the beginning, general ruqyah, and then, "Are you sister? Are you okay?" And he wasn't the sister, but I wasn't able to pick up that wasn't the sister. Does that make sense?
You couldn't tell the difference between, sometimes the Raqi can't, because you don't know the person.
Yeah.
So the person's character you won't know, but the family members will know, okay, this is not my wife, this is not my sister, this is something else, right? But don't worry about that. Let's go back to the reactions. As a Raqi, we have to deal with things as they are and not to instigate anything else.
Is Salah time?
You okay?
No, it's Salah time, sorry.
No, we got 3 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't mean to-
I want you to, this is a really important point, that we do not want to instigate anything or suggest anything else than what the person's going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If it's just pain, it's just pain. If it's dizzy, it's dizzy. We don't want to suggest jinn. We don't want to suggest siḥr. We don't want to suggest ayn. We just want, okay, what did you feel?
Yeah.
Oh, I have ayn. It's the person, when you read on them, they're going to say, I have ayn in my head. They're going to say, I have pain in my head.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So we don't want to say to anyone anything except what they tell us. And then we understand, okay, these are symptoms of ayn, these are symptoms of siḥr, this is symptoms of jinn possession.
Yeah.
And we don't have to disclose that straight away to the client, because we have to kind of see if the client is willing to kind of take this on, because they might make them scared, worried, and panic and become hysterical. Then you think this is a jinn when it's actually not a jinn. It's just a person becoming hysterical.
Like you said, you have to allow the client to reach the conclusion themselves.
Yes. So